This information is for educational purposes only and is not intended for medical advice.
Welcome to Enhancing the Human. I'm Dr. Jena Gatses, a renowned expert in the field of human enhancement. I've spent decades of my life exploring all aspects of human health, which has allowed me to take people from extreme injury and disability to peak athletic performance. I use cutting-edge advancements, breakthrough technologies, and scientific insights to push the boundaries of human capabilities. The human body is able to do so much more than you think. Let's start enhancing the human. Hello and welcome to Enhancing the Human podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Jena Gatses, and today we talk to Dr. Zulia Frost. She is a doctor and she is the co-founder of Recharge Health. She studies neurostimulation and photobiomodulation, which is also commonly known as red light therapy. So it's a way of introducing light to the system and the receptors of the body to enhance its own physiology and healing. She was also involved in a horrific car accident that led her to explore other ways to help the human body and assist its own natural healing processes. So it's interesting to hear her story and to hear what she's discovered. So let's get to it. So first of all, just thank you for being with us today. We appreciate you, and I appreciate everything behind what you do. So, Dr. Zulia, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me on your podcast. I actually look forward to share with my experience with red light therapy and just generally.
And I feel like your background and your history has really brought you to where you are today. And Dr. Zulia, so for my audience that doesn't know a lot about you, you started in Western medicine and you had an injury and it led you to other modalities and different pathways that maybe weren't so studied or, hadn't been until recently. But talk a little bit about just what led you to your journey and how all of this unraveled.
Well, it's quite a long story, but I will try to be brief because I know what really the essence of all that every experience in your life kind of enriches you and brings you a better understanding. What is your purpose in life? What you're going to do with yourself and how you're going to live with yourself. For me, yes, I started as a medical doctor. I think I was a good doctor. I was pretty regular, but when I experienced that car crash and it put me in a place of a patient, that's where the biggest transformation happened, because you understand how much you understand and you have compassion to this person because you've been through this pain. You understand how immensely it affects your life. And lots of people in chronic pain, they just don't live like we, healthy people would suppose it should be. And with that experience, I also wanted to exercise everything I learned so far in my life. And I understood the elements are very important, like sunlight, like exercise is a very good way to get yourself better. And it kind of brought me to think, what is outside of regular curriculum? Because I wanted to recover naturally. I didn't want to be dependent on drugs or anything like that.
And that's what you were seeing in your curriculum was a lot of, because I was same here. It was a lot of pharmaceuticals and how they interacted with the body, but not so much Eastern medicine. It was actually more shunned.
Yes, that's right. And I just wanted to have a different perspective on what is a disease, why we getting ill, and that's understanding a little bit the other side of the story. That's why I went to study traditional Chinese medicine and acupuncture. I wanted to understand what is this energy. What was so fascinating about this voodoo concept of energy, and then I realized it's nothing. It's actually vital energy, which maybe now medical world we translate as electrical current or electromagnetic waves, but for Chinese medicine, and because they were centuries ago, they just associated with the qi and energy, and that was amazing part of my journey, because once you understand that you are complex human body, not just like different compounds, different sections brought together in a very reductionist way. I also, through the prism of, again, my personal experience, I understood the value of light therapy, because I used to, in my recovery terms, I used to run to the sunrise, like, intuitively. How would you know? I know I used to run to sunrise. I used
Feel
to
it.
bow the sun, and I would feel that's
Yes.
the healing energy of a light. And I never forget, that was already, I was on the path, I guess. And then I came across of a really interesting modality, neuromodulation modality. It's in terms of, it's a physiotherapy tool, but it uses electrical stimulation. And I fixed myself, and then I was thinking, oh my God, this is so amazing. Why don't I fix other people? And that's how it's came to be my very unusual practice, because I use energetic modalities using electrical. I call it bioelectricity, because it's something which is inherently linked to our body. It is in our body, and we are energy beings. And then I
And
studied.
it can be modulating too. So that's what the audience needs to understand is you're changing physiology and you're changing what's happening based on the setting and the wavelength and the frequency. So people act like it's voodoo, but it's not. There's so much research on all of these topics.
Totally. And with every year, it's exponential expansion of research. And we get confirmation to maybe like 25, 30 years ago when I started, that was like, wow, that's really weird. Yeah. And now we have solid evidence, particularly about photobiomodulation, which is stimulation with light, but of low intensities. And of course, I went to study to Germany with Dr. Weber of the lasers at the time. Again, that was 2009. It was still very kind of new. And I remember I brought to my clinic laser acupuncture, which using, instead of traditional metal needles, you can shine beam of light, and you can energize the point, and you can, send the energy along the meridian. How beautiful is that?
Unbelievable.
And the biggest fun from this point of view was treating children, because you don't really want to stick needles in children.
No, you don't want to be invasive. If you don't
Yes,
have to be, you don't,
yes,
and the receptor in the skin, and I just like for people to picture this. So the receptor in the skin senses the light, depending on what light it is, it does different things physiologically to the body. So, depending on what you need and what kind of healing you need and where you need the healing, you can completely change the physiology in an isolated way.
it was phenomenal. I remember I used to have a kid who came with a bronchial asthma, 4 years old, very young, a little boy. And then you just put these needles, and he's so happy because he said, oh, look, I'm like a Christmas tree. I'm glowing. And,
So they have fun.
4 sessions, and you clear from asthma. And why not we use this biophysical modality?
So he completely got rid of his asthma.
Yes, completely. And many, many more children, ever since, many more, because I got confidence. I read the literature. And, if one thing we don't understand it, but with understanding, with science, why not to apply this in practice and
Exactly.
get non-invasively fantastic results?
Yes. Yes. And you're bringing the person into their own health. So you're giving them hope and you're giving them autonomy, and that motivates the person. And then they're more likely to be on board with what you're doing. And that whole process stimulates more healing.
Absolutely. That I remember people used to come with a massive chronic pain, and they would, by that point, they would try everything, because that's what normally happens. People go for something unusual because they experience everything which is laid up for you. And and they say, is it even possible to heal? And I would say, of course it is. Of course. You have to, human cells, they have a cycle. Every 7
years.
years, we basically renew ourselves.
Yes.
And if you give the right conditions, and if you give the energy, and if you give the motivation for the person to get better, you can.
Change
And
anything.
right now, with photobiomodulation, I read lots of research on photobiomodulation. Even nerve regenerating, the nerve tissue, they used to say, no, nerves don't regenerate. They do. Yeah.
And if not, so I had a gentleman that was paralyzed before, and he had complete foot drop bilaterally, and he was in a wheelchair. He just had hip flexion. And I was like, let's see, because again, with vibration and, just applying the science, applying the physiology and the process of what's happening. And the nerve can reach out, the dendrite can reach out and create another arm and start stimulating an area that's not normally stimulated by that nerve. So you never know. But if the doctor breaks your hope, the brain knows, okay, there's no hope, I'm not trying. And it will shut off the healing process. So you have to always think. Your mind is so powerful.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I know this because my right leg was paralyzed. So I came out of this and I can do anything today. And so many years passed, but I literally can do anything. I can climb mountains and do everything. Because
What happened in the crash?
Oh,
If you don't
there
mind
was
me
the spinal
asking.
injuries, multiple spinal injuries, concussions and contusions. And I was in a bad state.
Wow. And then you
Yeah.
lost full function of your leg.
Yeah. Right leg was paralyzed. So, you have this innate ability to heal. That's what everybody should know. You have ability to heal. You just need to give yourself energy. You just need to give yourself motivation and need to give yourself nutritional support. Many things. It's a complex program, not just one thing. So,
But it's all just to create the environment to heal. So if there are these basic factors that you're not taking into consideration, and there's a lot in our lifestyles that toxify us all day, and it's not to create fear, but it's to recognize, to be aware of what's happening in your environment. If you're going to add to this toxification, then your body can only handle so much, and your energy starts to go towards just trying to heal you from the inflammation of your daily anything, eating, thinking, drinking. So you're not creating energy to heal. You're not allowing your body to do anything else but fight inflammation and breakdown.
And lots of people don't understand the concept of inflammation. They always say this is like we have to kill it, we have to fight it. It's an expression of your own physiology, and this is the first thing the body does in order to heal itself. So if you help, you can complete the cycle, and you're no longer inflamed. And it's not the disease don't come from outside; they're always within you.
Yes.
So if people understand this and take care of themselves, like in a nurturing, caring way, they can recover. There is always hope.
There definitely is. And it's funny you say that, because all the research points to that. And that's what's funny, is people act like there's not research out there. There's a lot of research out there. Most of it says needs more research, because no one wants to definitively say, okay, this does this. But if you look at the base of the article, there's research on all of these modalities. But the way it's concluded is, in a more shunned light, and not really showing and showcasing the positive benefits compared to little risk, and, other things that have a lot of risk and little benefit.
Yes, I understand. Who were my teachers? My patients taught me this lesson. My patients, once I give them the fuel, the energy, and then we look at all aspects of the lifestyle, even including the way how they sleep, because sleep is really healing and nurturing. So you look at all this, you give the elements together, and then they recover. So the proof is in the pudding. After 25 years treating like thousands of patients, I am absolutely stunned by it. Yeah.
So with your patients, just so people understand the process, they come in, they get an assessment, and you teach them about their lifestyle factors that can contribute to their health, and slowly you change things over time. But describe how. So for the audience, Dr. Frost has a company and founded a company called Recharge Health, and she uses red light therapy to produce the photobiomodulation that we're speaking of. So explain a little bit about your process with your patients and what you've seen firsthand, because people don't recognize that you see it firsthand and you can see the results right away. It's an instant change. You can see the degrees of motion change and the person's demeanor completely.
Yes, yes, I agree. Of course, we also talk, we educate each other. The patient educates me about their problem, and I educate about the tools. And in this case, we use photobiomodulation, which is stimulation with light. And this light is almost like something coming from the sun. It's a part of the same spectrum that coming from the sun. And it's the safest modality. I'm stressing on this because there is literally no side effects to it. What it does, it just in a concentrated way, you shine in the area of injury or inflammation. For example, with the knee arthritis, you would put the lights all around that knee, and the light penetrates. That's the ability of particularly near-infrared light wavelengths to penetrate deep and give energy to the cells and stimulate circulation. And, if you want to heal anything, you need blood circulating in that area because it brings oxygen, nutrients. It enables, again, natural healing responses. And literally by 30 minutes past, once we put it all around that knee, what you literally see, the knee is becoming cooler, less puffy, and pain eased up. And people get up and they say, "Oh, I feel light. I can actually feel less pain, feel fantastic." Overall, they also feel general uplifting effect. And this is when you have something specific. But if you have a complex autoimmune condition, then you need to address this to the whole of the body. So in this case, I would be putting flex beam. This is a device name over the areas, for example, stomach, for example, the spine, and or even the liver as an organ, just over it, just to give energy to those specific cells. And
so you've worked with autoimmune with this too. Explain a little bit about just what you've seen. I love this.
It's the same. It takes a lot longer, and as I said, this is only one part of the modality. With autoimmune, it's very complex. You look at the variety of factors causing it, but what it does, it delivers the fuel for healing. Because typically, when people have autoimmune conditions, the body is fighting on cells. And so the body is exhausting energy resources on that fight. So there is inflammation after inflammation in the different parts of the body. And inflammation is very energetically expensive for the body. So when you do this, you become like deflated balloon from energetic point of view. And so you really need to support your body. And if you give that energy, what I personally discovered, the energy aspect is missing piece. You give the energy, your cells revitalized, and they absorb nutrition. And now you can have your benefit from nutrition. Whether before, if cell is incapable to function, you won't be able to absorb any goodness from the food you eat. Even if you eat best foods, it just goes through you. You can absorb supplements better. Your body functions altogether in a better way. You have better sleep. You have better blood circulation in the body. So all of it contributes to this process.
And that too, because I'll tell everyone the area is dehydrated, and they're like, "Oh, no, I drink so much water." And I'm like, but when the body goes into a protective mechanism, it's trying to protect itself. So it locks down to create stability and to create control over whatever injury or pain or joint is injured. And if it if it can't breathe, if it's locked down that much, I always tell everyone it's like clogging the pipes. So there's no circulation. And like you said, things can't be absorbed because everything's in a spasmed, it's more of being in a sympathetic response, like a fight or flight response. So bringing energy opens those pipes, allows the healing, and then allows the body to detox.
Yes, and relaxing the muscles, even muscles of the endothelium, the blood vessels. So blood vessels move in space. And it's interesting that you said about the hydration. Really interesting point, because people don't appreciate that hydration is not just water.
Right.
Hydration is a water with charge. You need, because everything inside the body electrically charged. Positive, negative. There is a law of attraction going on. There is a interplay with charges going on, and you cannot just drink water. And if you don't have energy, it will be just not functioning water. But inside the body, it becomes organized. It's Dr. Pollack wrote a beautiful book on this, and he did lots of research. He called it "Your Body is a Battery." Because that water hold the charge. It's almost like expand the charge in the body. For many people, this is an alien concept, but it doesn't matter. As long as you trust us, the experts, you're going to be helped with this.
I always say that. It's funny that you say that, because I always preach about the hydration not being just about water, because after 90 minutes or more of sweating, you will dilute more of the electrolytes that you have within your system. So water becomes something that's a negative to your system after 90 minutes or more of sweating. It's better to drink, a sugary drink even. So it's important to realize you have to have those charged particles. Everything is chemistry, and everything, that things can transform into something else with heat, with different molecules, with different environments. So, and you have the control over those environments. Like in a big way. I think it's really shunned, because I always speak about this to people. It's like, you need to realize how powerful you are. It's the light inside of you.
Exactly. And when people do exercises, what is also happening on an energetic level, the cells change their configuration. Think of particularly connective tissue cells. They are like liquid crystals. So from physics point of view, when they change shape, they actually self-charge. It's called piezoelectric effect. So when you go to the gym and you do lots of, exercises, sets, whatever, you're charging yourself. And so your energy overall becomes strong. And even if you have some stressful situation, if you fail, for example, or twisted your ankle, or I don't know, or you acquired some virus, your body has ability to withstand that because your charge is high, your energy, there is a potential for body to heal and look after itself. And so that's kind of became my mission, to bring that awareness to people and to give them a tool to use it. Because that's how FlexBeam, the device, actually came about. Because I always could see that I could charge them and give them so much energy in one session, but people go away and they need to continue. For the best results, I like people to use it daily or, every other day. And then there is a miracle happen. The recovery goes so quick. And that's why I was thinking of creating a tool which people can take home.
So what I love about this is that it's so, go ahead and move it. Yeah, it's so flexible. So for me, I work with a lot of different people that travel, they have work schedules. So having it be that small of a device, the case is very small. It fits right in my suitcase. And it's something that I can continue on, because when you travel, it's hard to keep your routines. But with this, it's a portable way to be able to change your health and do it wherever you are.
Yeah.
It's so flexible. And there's Velcros that come, you could tie it around different joints.
Yeah. And you see, people can get 3-dimensional if there is a joint, or even say you have arthritis in your hand. Yes, you can put your hand in between, or ankle, and you beam in 3-dimensionally. You deliver in energy exactly to the source. And you literally can put on any parts of the body. Okay, let's turn it down because it
I
makes
love
noise.
that.
Yeah.
I love it. And then each session is 10 minutes.
In one place, you only place for one cycle. Everything is automated. All you have to do, just turn it on and place where you want to do the stimulation and choose one of 3 programs. And then you just place it there, and it's 10 minutes doing all magic, different frequency, different pulsations, different modulation and power and everything. And after 10 minutes, you receive a dose. That is very important in photobiomodulation. If you don't get the right dose, you don't get therapeutic effect. So what we've done, we calculated in each program, in 10 minutes, you get a dose. So next 10 minutes, you can place on other parts of the body and so on. In average, people do 20, 30 minutes a day. They could do it as a routine as well.
I love that. And as far as the other factors that you were saying that you discuss with your patients, what are some things that you find very important to consider to create that environment of healing that we were discussing?
Well, it's really important, the mindset. And really, really, I cannot stress enough. If somebody comes and they have no hope, it's really difficult to get them to light because they will be negating their own healing process. Subconsciously, of course, they would sabotage that. Or people come very skeptic and they want to prove you that you're wrong, and just because they want to be right at any time. You know, we're all different.
Right.
And so
And they've heard it over and over. You're not going to get help, and they don't believe you. So, and they're stubborn within that, and it's programmed into their mind.
yeah, the programming and the body, we manifest reality all the time. So if you start believing that it's not going to work, it actually cancels it. It's not going to work. So we go through the session, and the people get education all the time, like non-stop. But by the end of it, many of them would say, "Okay, I'll give it a try." And then they see the results. Even small change would already spark the hope. And then we know there is a way to get better.
And it's so fun to watch too, because that hope, you
Yes.
can see it. You can
Yes.
see it, and their whole demeanor changes. And then I tell everyone it's like a snowball, because once you believe, then every day you get more and more healing. So
Yes.
then you feel so much better.
Totally. And also, maybe you need to understand what that disease state does to you if people have chronic pain. Because there is a subconscious gain, and sometimes you say, I want to recover, but you don't really, because there is something people gain from it, maybe more attention from a spouse or something like that. So if you suddenly realize that you're clinging on to something because of one of those factors, then you have the resolution to your problem, because you'd say, I no longer want this. But sometimes
And
it's
I'll
good
try anything.
Yes. Sometimes it's good to work with trained coaches, with trained psychologists as well, if you have chronic pain.
Have to.
Generally
It's
speaking,
important.
it's the major pillars. It's, to me, this is energy, nutrition, appropriate lifestyle, which means also protect yourself from negative factors like maybe exposure to radiation. I had one patient who lived by the transformer booth and lost hair because it was constant in a very close proximity. So you need to evaluate all these factors which are affecting you. Or people just eat contaminated foods. And I say contaminated because, unfortunately, the food industry not plain clean, and lots of things which can be found in food which shouldn't be there. Yeah.
And are not food.
Yeah. And of course, the last pillar as well, very important, it's your structural change, the structural body. So body mechanics, if the body mechanics is out, it can cause lots of problems. Like scoliosis for example. And lots of people don't realize they even have scoliosis because they don't look at your back, yes? And if it's a small scoliosis, it's going to affect you on all levels. You can have migraine because your head is out of alignment. You can have chest pains or like a neuropathic pain in your neuralgias. Yes, you can have even, when the pelvis is out, then you can have knee pain, ankle pain, all sorts of things. So I would always work with manual therapists, either chiropractors or osteopath, if I suspect something that. But I will do my part too, because when you put flex beam over the muscle, it's going to relax the muscle. Yes. And imagine with scoliosis, one side will be very tight and the other is always stretched because it's constant twist. So if you put it over those muscles, you already help to strengthen the spine.
And scoliosis can develop over time. I
Yes.
feel like ignorance prevents people from bettering themselves because they don't understand. And then they get a one-word answer of like, no, you can't do that. Or, no, or, basically you're done. So 2-word answer, but they lose that hope. And then it just, that's what happens. Their reality becomes what they hear the doctor say. So just providing that receptor, even putting the device directly on anywhere on the skin on the receptor, your brain is feeding energy there. So you're constantly stimulating the circulation. You're changing the mitochondria, changing the amount of oxygen that, like you said, that's going to the area.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's amazing.
Yes, and when you stimulate the skin nerve receptors, you also can get release of endorphins because you send the message to the brain and saying, look at this area here. And when you engage your nervous system in the healing, the magic will happen because your brain is suddenly aware, oh, there is a problem going on. Because, for example, if people take pain medication all the time, pain is a signal. It's a signal to the brain with address. My pain is coming from this point. Yes, the brain now is aware. You will just have to work and help it. But if people pop the pills just to numb that pain, how they can expect the healing can happen?
Oh, and then you're overloading the system even more. So
Yeah.
it drives me crazy because these people want answers and then they're given this Band-Aid that's toxifying their system and taking away more energy and more blood that's going to have to break down these toxins. And it just sets them back even more. And then you see them lose more hope and you see their health deteriorate. So it's really sad.
When I work as a medical doctor in a hospital, I did ultrasound scans. And once I saw a woman who took ibuprofen for her arthritis. She was, young still. And I look at her liver and it was so hard. I don't know, on ultrasound, it looks like really bright white. And I'm like, oh my God, what's going on here? She doesn't look like an alcoholic, anything like this. So I said, why? And then we realized that the medication she was constantly taking was destroying her liver. So she was, she took this on board.
And people don't realize that it doesn't, it's over the counter and it's common, but there are side effects. And with anything, you can't abuse. And any of those medications are just a Band-Aid because unless you're finding the root cause, you're not going to fix the actual problem.
Yeah.
And it's funny that we have so much research on photobiomodulation, but yet the EMF is not, really understood and by common people. I feel like there's a lot of research on that too, but it's not, it's a lot of corporate companies would be impacted if this research was glamorized. So explain a little bit about the EMF and what you've seen, because I just did biofeedback recently and they said I have a sensitivity to the PC and the telephone. So it's interesting that you bring that up.
Yes. Well, generally, you're talking about EMF, electromagnetic frequency.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, yeah. Well, we live in an environment, we literally swimming in them. Yes, swimming because everything, every gadget, walked in the kitchen. you could see every gadget polluting it. Yes. I even have an app on my phone which measures the degree of the magnetic field, and I can say, oh, that's affecting me. Collectively, all these gadgets going to affect you. There are some
What
gadgets.
is the app called? I have one of the detectors, but I would like to have it on my phone.
Oh, I don't remember.
Oh,
But,
I'm like, let me know afterwards.
yes. There are many. There are many. I think it's called something Ghost, something almost like Ghostbuster or something like that.
That's funny.
But the idea is that you can measure it, and there are some professional gadgets you can use, and you can measure this too. And this EMF actually have a destructive, suppressive effect on the cells at the cellular level, and it also causes the reaction oxygen species build up, which are negative. It's like a baggage which body collects over a period of time. And when it's become impacted more and more and more, the cell cannot function. It's like a high level of toxicity for cell. People become so sensitive to it because we expose from all sorts of, and always watch where you are, especially in the build-up cities. Yeah, we'll have this Wi-Fi now, and I'm just thinking, oh my God, all these floods, beaming, all these hotels, beaming, and we are affecting our own because our body generates electromagnetic field too. Our heart is sensitive to it. That's what we have the heart protects a pericardium. It's like a shield in the heart. But imagine if it's so strong, it can actually impact the heart cells as well. So I don't know. Sometimes I think we live in a very polluted environment and our body amazingly is surviving this, but maybe we get sick because of that.
And I tell my patients that too, because they're like, what, you're so negative. And I'm like, it's not about being negative or creating fear. It's about understanding and knowing what things impact you and on what level. So the things that are impacting you on a maximum level, take those things and reduce those things or unplug your Wi-Fi. Because what's happening is the device is trying to get a signal from the Wi-Fi router and it's constantly firing back and forth. So if you're in the center of that frequency, that's going to go through your body. And so that has an effect where it can cause heart attacks, it can cause breakdown, like you said, in the cell, and reactive oxygen species, that's free radicals. So that can cause aging. And I know in Hollywood where I am, that's important to people and they don't realize that it's completely linked and it can lower your immune system. So there's a lot of fear out here. And I'm like, instead of being fearful, understand the process and the physiology so you can contribute to a healthier environment and you can give your body a chance to survive.
Yes, there was a recently study, really, really interesting, because the scientists are saying that particularly near-infrared light, exposure to near-infrared light particularly cleanses the cells from buildup of free radicals of this reaction oxygen species. So yeah, and this also was it's in the same paper they were talking about how green light reflects, like the trees with leaves reflects the infrared light. And the author was saying, is it maybe that's why it's so nice for you to walk in the woods, because you feel so much better because your body is cleansing from on energetic level. And I thought that fascinating. And of course, with FlexBeam, there is program number 2 and program number 3 has near-infrared light. So if you can't go walking in the woods and you have busy life, you can just use this in preventative way to optimize your energy level and use it daily to protect yourself.
Definitely. And even in the wintertime, I know I get depressed and I get sad even when it's raining. So it's a way I tell everyone it's manipulate your mind and manipulate your nervous system, but it's giving your body a tool that can help you. And it's something that they can have and they don't rely on someone else for their health. So that autonomy I found is just like that hope that you were saying. It helps someone like it empowers them to realize and recognize how powerful they are in controlling their own health.
Absolutely. I think we need to take this understanding and start preventing ourselves. I do everything I can. I still live my full life. I could do whatever I like, but because I do some measures now, I don't think I will be, even in pain when I reach 70. So most people start breaking down. But if you use the tools, use your supplements, or for me, it's a food medicine. I'd like to have a really good food, good quality food, instead of just taking supplements all the time. And that is also working.
Yeah, because the body recognizes food. It doesn't understand the breakdown of the supplement. Our natural way of eating is through food that comes from the earth. So when the body sees that, it will take and absorb the most nutrients, and it allows the body to break it down in a way that it can't with something synthetic. So it's always good to get the nutrition naturally first. If you
From
can't
both
you can supplement, but definitely. And you know what's funny? People don't realize that you don't take vitamins for life. You get blood work. You see, where are my levels? What do I need? What am I lacking? Am I lacking anything? So you don't just take a vitamin and you just run with it, because you can have too much of a vitamin, so that's toxic also. Important to recognize that.
Oh, it just the very wise words. Exactly. I agree with you. And I also believe that in food, when we eat, those useful active ingredients, which we then extract and make vitamins out of them, they are actually in a bonded state. They're bonded with other, and they're stable. So when you eat them, you actually absorb fully. You don't give, it's not wasted. And I remember in pharmacology lessons, our teacher was saying that, when you take something which is extracted and you absorb a small percentage, like 15% only, what a waste. They're very expensive
Yes.
things.
Yes. But it makes a lot of profit. And that's the sad reality. But it's important to understand that there's a lot of information out there that's recognized by high levels of science and high levels of evidence. It's not conspiracy. This is, clinical research and clinical data. And if you use these processes and incorporate little variables daily, not even daily, just change a few habits in your life like a few times a week, you can change the outcome of your health. And it's like health insurance. So instead of just waiting to get hurt, I see that all the time with my patients. I feel like they're just waiting for an injury the way their body is. Like you said, with scoliosis, even with scoliosis, you can develop it over time. So the postures where you sit, if it's not structural scoliosis where your femur is a different length, or your body's structurally different in a way that's, dealing with the bone, then you can change your scoliosis. So our Western medicine wants you to just accept it and modify your life to just, know that you have it for life, but that's not the case. You don't have to live a sad life. You can change so much you don't have to have scoliosis anymore. You can do things like this to increase the blood flow and then change the biomechanics of how you move.
Yes, totally. That also comes with I always recommend people to do exercises. And the exercises also should be done with understanding what you're trying to achieve. Like when I work with people who are in very chronic and really long-term pain, I don't tell them go to the gym, although it would be great. Yes. I tell them start with deep breathing exercises, because you need to first to shift that stagnant energy around your body. Deep breathe, stretch for some few weeks. And then you continue deep breathe, stretch, and then add walks, and then gradually add, jogs. So it has to be smooth. Don't do it at once.
Right.
So
Especially, and that's a common misconception too, is people think they have to go in and work out so hard or otherwise they're not going to lose weight. But if you already have an overloaded system and you start doing these high intensity workouts, your system shuts down and you'll have more pain, and your system will become more sensitive to pain because it's on guard, and then you're throwing more at it. So it's important to recognize that less
Yes.
is more.
When they go and doing high intensity exercises, so they really increasing the cortisol. And what cortisol gonna do? Just add extra layer around your waistline. So you have to watch, because this particular concept it comes with the concept understanding stress. Because when people go into stress response, there is a certain hormonal changes going on, and certain adjustment with this, and particularly with shutdown of the thyroid glands, increase of the cortisol production, and so all that is happening if you exposed to stress. So don't add unnecessary stress on the top of if you have it already.
Right. Because then you're just contributing to that inflammation. The body only has so much blood. So if you add too much and it can't regulate that, whatever's going on, and it can't tend to that issue, then it's just going to overload the system and the organs more and shut you down more. Explain a little bit about the EMF, the protection. You have the app on your phone to detect. Is there any other way that because I've heard different things and I've tried different things. So I want to see your ways of just shielding yourself from EMF, or just different habits that you've picked up that have helped you.
Yes, I was looking first at the gadgets to do this, and there are some gadgets like Protofield, for example, and they supposedly override that EMF. I'm not sure if I believe that. In my view, first of all, I clean the bedroom. I have to clean it. I go, I check what is producing this EMF strongly, particularly clock. They're famous for doing that. So there is no clock in my bedroom. There is no watch like this, because like they also talk with the phone. Yes. So there is no watch in my bedroom. Yes. Wi-Fi for nights off. Absolutely rightly said. And also recommend to use earthing sheets or mats, something like this, because it also, whilst you're sleeping, you discharging that static electricity which builds up in your body. And the next one, kitchen. I look at the gadgets. There is no microwave in my kitchen, because in my view, microwave is a part of electromagnetic spectrum. Although it hits inconvenient for your foods, it's really unhealthy for food, because it starts breaking the bonds and your biophotons, your energetic nutrients is gone. You still get chemical nutrients, but bonds, when they're broken, the energy is released, and food after microwave is energetically dead, and that's why it tastes so awful as well.
And high heat too. That's changing the chemistry of what the food is made of. So your body, it's a different chemical once it goes inside, and once it's broken, those bonds are broken.
Yes, absolutely. So no things like this in the kitchen. And I look, and before buying any gadget, I look at this aspect. I look at the aspect of the decibel, how strong they produce noise, because noise is also pollution, which from constant exposure makes your body very tired and fatigued. And EMF is a silent, you don't see it, but you can just small gadget, you can buy it and test it. Generally speaking, I talk about the earthing. Okay, through the earthing sheet. If you're in a city, if you have chance, walk barefoot. Like you have garden, walk barefoot, because this is really healthy for you. And plus, as you walk, you're going to be stimulating all these reflex zones on your feet. It feels nice, isn't it?
And it's good for your circulation and for your nervous system.
Yes. And when you build in house, you have to build with consideration of all those things. You hide the cables properly, put the natural wooden floor or stone floor, if you can, of course. There are so many things you need to look at. Yes, and of course, good hydration, good energy. flex beam would be another option to protect you, because this one doesn't have EMF because it's work of the battery. Yeah, anything which you plug in a system will have EMF. So this is very benign. So you can recharge your body and recharge the water body in your body as well with light. So this would be my probably tips altogether.
And not using your phone while it's plugged in, I'm guessing, either.
Yes, yeah. And the phone, I try not to use it so much. I've got this app reminding me how many hours I spend on this. Yeah, no, I try not to.
Because you're changing your cells.
Yes, yeah.
In China, they wear EMF when a woman is pregnant. They wear like a shield. So there's different materials where you can shield from the EMF. And I've seen where the women wear a cover when they're pregnant. And I've seen research where if the mom is holding the phone for more than 2 hours, it can change the development of the child.
Oh my God, this is so good to hear. So good to hear. Because I travel a lot, and I see, I remember seeing a flight attendant, and she was carrying a mobile phone just underneath her breast. And, in the pocket here as well, right by the heart. And I told her, I said, you should not do this. And then I saw a pregnant woman. She was sitting and putting the phone on her abdomen, where the baby lives, and she keeps texting. And I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you beaming? And where the baby, the embryo maybe, or maybe it's already a fetus, and so there is a water around, and water is really good conductant for microwaves. So it's nice to hear the things like this. And I tell you, you're probably gonna laugh. And my research, I discovered there is a fabric which shields. It's made out of silver threads.
Yeah. Yes.
And they were making underwear. And so I bought for my husband this underwear.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah, because
I love it.
all putting the phones in the pockets. And
Yes.
now you're gonna wear this. Yes.
And it's causing infertility. People, I've seen a lot of patients having to do IVF, and they're not able to get pregnant, and it's causing infertility. These microwaves, it's just like everything else. How are we saying that, these lights are changing receptors and infrared sauna is changing receptors, but these frequencies from the EMF are not? So it's so important. And
yes,
people, I get pushback from people saying like, oh, people don't care. They do. They do if they're educated. So if we tell them what's happening, but I feel like the education of it is shunned because it's not, that would change a lot in our society to take away Wi-Fi things.
Yes, but most importantly, just, make sure not to wear on your body the mobile phone. Right. Put it in a pouch or put it in a handbag, some kinds. Best leather, because leather would be already something shielding, preventing you.
And they have, my phone is, it has the material within it. So I have one that covers it completely.
Yes.
And it holds it, and it's EMF protection. So instead of, whatever I can, my iPad has it too. I have material, a blanket with it, to where if I'm using my computer on my lap or anything, I just put the blanket up. So it's important to recognize there's things you can do. And it's not out of fear, it's out of education. Why not? I even have something for my bed where it's like one of those, canopies, and it's got the material in it too. So why not? I had a 5G tower on my last apartment building that was really close, and I didn't know for years. And so now I believe that's why I have that sensitivity. So, just incorporating things you can change. It's so important for people to know this. I appreciate you saying all of this.
There are some also, you can use cork tiles, cork. So like squares, you merge them together and you can put it underneath the bed, because that's also very good protection for them. See, we've got so many tips for you.
Right. I love it. It makes me so happy. And it just reinforces everything. So I appreciate all of your knowledge. I appreciate you coming here too. And there's something I ask every person that comes on. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions. So the number one behavior change you think will lead to the biggest change in someone's life?
The biggest change in someone's life, it's realization that you've got the power to heal yourself. If you truly embrace this and understand, you can do it. You can do it. Even if you're paralyzed, you still can do it.
Yes. That gentleman, he had braces from his calves that held his feet up. He no longer wears braces. He wears regular shoes. And we were doing squatting with plates on each side. So, that was after 10 years. He had been paralyzed for 10 years. And I said, we can't mess it up more. So I said, let's try anything we can. And we did it. And he doesn't have a wheelchair anymore and he wears regular shoes. It's unbelievable. So, and that was before I went to grad school. It was just messing with energy. So people need to know this information. So I appreciate you saying that. And then if you could go back and tell your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
If I go back in time, I'd say have more fun. Because I've always been very serious and I work so many hours all the time. But I think having more fun in life is important.
Yes.
Because otherwise life goes by very quickly.
And it's one of those factors. We are social beings. So it should be one of those pillars. It's like us to leave that off. But it's one of those pillars where we need interaction. We are social beings and we need to feel connected to other people, to other things. And so it's good to recognize that I also have that issue. So school, learning, just research, and you see the corruption and what's happening, and you can help people. So I'm sure you're passionate about this, and I've heard this when we've spoken before. So we appreciate you as a human being, and I thank you for your product. I only support products that help people and that are truly doing what they say they're doing. And I work closely with people and I try to create relationships with these quality people that are authentic to what they love to do. So we appreciate Recharge Health and FlexBeam and just your research and diving into the data and creating your own data and your own clinical research, because that takes a lot of time and energy, but it's so important, and just doing it the right way. And, I admire you and it's inspiring, truly.
Thank you so much. We all work very, very hard because we recognize that just building a device and giving it to people is not enough. We want to support everybody. So anybody, any guidance, anything, all my knowledge, which I learned in 30 years of clinical practice, I put it in practice. I help and guide people because I think if they get this device, use it daily, and they get results, it will be life-changing. It will be transformational. And we, in all our team, is very small, but, really nice people working together. And we all realize this. And we want to help our customers, our patients, as much as we can.
Love it. Well, we appreciate you and we appreciate the FlexBeam. And I've even been using it with children, because even attitude problems, maybe they're toxified with heavy metals, or, they have things going on where they have anxiety because their system's stuck in a hyper state. The FlexBeam helps calm them down because it creates circulation and it spreads out that energy. So there's a lot of different uses for the FlexBeam, and it's just another tool for people to use to better their own health and empower themselves to be stronger within their own light.
Totally. The people just have to try. Why not? It's completely safe. No side effects.
No side effects. It's just one more tool, and it'll make it to where you don't need medications and your body's healthy and your organs are healthy. So it's important to add tools to your toolbox that can make you better.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna put the link to the FlexBeam below, just so you guys have the information and the website and you can have access to it. So again, Dr. Zulia Frost, thank you for everything you've done in the industry, and just your heart and your passion and your compassion for other people. It's so important not to lose that. So we thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Jena. I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I learned also quite a bit from you, from yourself. And I hope everybody who listens to this podcast really have a different outlook on life and start doing something about it.
Yes, and their abilities to do something about it. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone for joining us for this episode. And thank you to Dr. Zulia Frost for shedding light on some of the benefits of red light therapy. It's so important to recognize these technologies and to utilize them into our environment. It's not about fear, but it's about creating an environment that sets you up for success and allows you to truly heal your body. And it's important to recognize there's a lot of factors working against us. So any little variable you can change to help your health is important and is good to know about. So we want to give you the tools so that you can empower yourself to do better. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you like this episode. If you want us to expand on any of the information, just let us know in the comments. And you can click the link below for the device that we were talking about today, or you can use code Dr. Jena at recharge.health. Thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you next time.